Alright folks, it's time for us to dive back into some Civilization VI with Korea. I'm gonna try a completely different strategy from what we did last time, especially because the previous playthrough attempt with her was basically how to get Petra 101, so I want to really try to capitalize on the unique benefits for this civilization, and my main strategy for today is going to be building tall instead of building wide. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to talk about it. So the first things first is I'm going to settle not on the tile that we're starting off, but a little bit off to the side. So we're going to end up spending one turn without any research going, which is a bit unfortunate, but I think it'll pay off in the long run because we're going to have an incredibly powerful campus district once we have the ability to get it. And in the meanwhile, we'll continue exploring with our scout, and just like that, we got a boost towards state workforce. Not the best thing we could have found in the goody hut, but I'll take what I can get. Now, finally, in the next turn, 3 turns before founding our first city. That does feel a little bit bad, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. Plopped it down. We've got a ton of production tiles, but here's why this location is going to be amazing. Our first campus district is going to go right here. And as you can see, this spot is surrounded by hill tiles, on top of which we can put mines, and each one of those mines will, in addition to the production, will give us science. So this city is going to have a crazy amount of science. And in order for us to capitalize on that as efficiently as possible, we're going to focus on whatever we can to grow the population of this city as high as possible, so we can expand, get those tiles, and just build up and just get as much science as possible. So we'll start with pottery gun straight for writing, and then after that we'll talk more about the strategy as we move on. I guess I'll call this place Science Hill, because we're gonna have a lot of science because of all those hill tiles. And the first thing we're gonna build is I'll keep it standard. I'll go for a warrior, and after that I'll do a settler. I'm gonna have 2 cities, and then from there it's gonna go straight up to the moon, all tall. Now, going tall in Civilization, what that means is instead of having a lot of smaller cities to start off the game, I'm going to try and have 2 relatively large cities and very well developed cities early on, and then once I've got a nice situation going on, I'll start focusing on expanding out, maybe even go for some conquest. I don't typically feel like I need conquest with Korea, because she is a science civ. I feel like I can play her peacefully and just defend myself against the AI instead of actively seeking battle. But if I play this right and get enough of a tech advantage over the AI early on, then I can just push out with, nuclear missiles when they're still running around with clubs. That's always the dream with Korea. Now, so far, we've found 1 city-state, which is nice. I'm going to continue exploring as much as possible, hopefully find 2 more, and another civilization so I can boost writing to speed up the process. Now, with our first warrior produced, we're going to start work on a settler. It's going to take us 7 turns, but we can probably shave that down a bit by shifting our production tiles over to the 2 woods that are also on top of hills. And we're actually going to cut those down at some point, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Now, the going tall strategy is going to be a little bit tricky in this city because there aren't a lot of places where I can put down farms before expanding. So I think after the settler comes out, we'll go for a monument. So I don't know if this is true, but I think having a monument in your city increases the rate at which the city tiles expand. I read that somewhere and I never confirmed it, so I'm not sure, but if it is a true thing, somebody let me know. If I'm just talking out of my ass, you can let me know that as well.
No man ever wetted clay and then left it, as if there would be bricks by chance and fortune.
I mean, because that's one thing about strategy games, is even after playing them for 200 plus hours, you can still run into things that you don't know, and you can still learn a hell of a lot more stuff, and that's very exciting, to always feel like you have something to learn. Now, we just finished pottery. I don't want to go for writing yet. I'm going to switch over to mining because we've got all these hills and woods that we could potentially chop down, and I want to make use of the tiles as quickly as possible. So, and also, I would like to get the boost for the campus district, and there you go. We're going to get it right now. So, Scythia is the first civilization that we met. Kind of a problem in the sense that she is an aggressive civ, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. And we did find a barbarian camp, so we're going to bring one of our warriors back to deal with it and continue scouting around. We got some unit experience for our scout, not the biggest thing in the world. But yeah, I think going for mining will be probably more beneficial than going for the campus right away, since we do have all these hills. Yeah, I think we're making good choices. But yeah, it's always fun to learn new things in a strategy game, even after you've played it for 200, 300 hours or so. And I think that's the mark of a good strategy game, right? If you're playing a strategy game and you play it for X amount of hours and you know everything, then that almost doesn't feel good. You know, the whole thing that makes this genre exciting for me is the fact that it feels like I'm always constantly trying to discover new things and feeling like I can just endlessly test out new strategies and find out what works, what doesn't, etc., yada yada, blah blah blah. So we got mining, shifting back over to writing. And why have I been generating so much faith? Oh, that's right. I completely forgot I met a religious city-state. I was so confused as to why I was getting 3 faith per turn. Normally I don't get a pantheon till like turn 20-something. Or, yeah, about turn 20. But that's awesome. I'm going to go for Divine Spark. As I've said before, this is, I think, a meta choice for Korea because it helps you get great scientists. So we will select it, and boom. Could have tried something different this time, but overall Divine Spark is very powerful. It's great on any civ, but I think it has extra synergy if you're looking for those great scientist points. Now, for our second city, I haven't thought about where I'm going to place it, but what could be interesting is going off to this tile right here that I'm mousing over, because we got double crabs over here, and that would bring in a lot of gold, and that could help with our potential conquest in the future. So you know what? I think we're going to go crabs. Because the trick is, if I put the city where the game is recommending I put the city, then it's going to be a couple of turns before we get expansion to these crabs. But if I put it in the recommended spot, then I would also get fish. But fish aren't as good as crabs as far as I'm concerned. That gold is very juicy. Oh, there's a lot of desert there. That's why they want me to put it. That's why they want me to put it there. Shit. Petra City? Desert Ocean City? I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do it again. How many times can you guys stand to watch me obsess over Petra? I think once is enough. I mean, it's grueling enough as it is one time. I don't want to force you to see me just drooling trying to get Petra over and over and over again. It's the game's fault for putting all this damn desert nearby me. They know I can't resist. Alright, I've officially decided I'm not going to gun for Petra like a maniac, but if I end up getting it, then I'm not gonna fight it. Okay, that's all I'll say about that. I can't help myself, man. When it comes to Petra, I feel just obligated to build it if I have the opportunity to, and nothing will stop me from doing so. Now, our second city is not going to have a crazy powerful campus district, I don't think. I imagine we could plop one down right on this tile, but it would only have 2 adjacent farms, so those would just gain extra food, and it would also get a reduced yield to science because it's next to the city, which counts as a district. So every district that is adjacent to the campus district reduces its effectiveness, which actually makes this civ very tricky to optimize. I guess one of the bigger problems that I've had with Korea is sort of figuring out how much I should be concerned with optimizing the campus district, because part of it is that I want to make the city look really pretty. So I want to put the campus district in a place where I can just surround it with beautiful tiles, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with this city. But with that in mind, I do think this hill tile will probably be the best bet, because I don't foresee myself using any districts in any of these slots. Probably the other district that I could put in this city is maybe a commercial hub right there, because it'd get the river adjacency bonus. And other things. I mean, I could purchase one of these desert tiles to make an encampment, which is actually what we're going for next. I forgot to mention, now that we have riding, we're going to go for animal husbandry so we can turn our horses online, then bronze working so we can get an encampment, and if we have any iron within our cities, then we'll go for iron working. If we don't have iron, then we'll start going for horseback riding. And we're actually in a bit of a crunch, because as soon as Scythia takes over Buenos Aires, they're probably going to come for us next. So we do have to be cognizant of that. It's tricky. It's tricky. The thing with going tall and focusing on just improving the tiles in your city is you run the risk of getting killed by the enemy civ. Because normally I would have churned out a couple more units to defend myself by this point. But I'm focusing very heavily on just getting my cities improved. So, you know, getting that monument and granary online. Purchasing tiles. Unfortunately, we're 1 gold short for being able to purchase a tile for our campus district, which is a bit annoying. So I'll just start production on another warrior in the meantime, and I'll let that finish, and then we'll purchase a tile, build the campus. We're a little bit late for the campus district. I kind of wanted to start building it a little bit sooner, but that's okay. I don't think anybody else is getting great science points yet. No, they are not. Or are they? No, they're not. So we're still okay. We're still totally okay. And as soon as we finish animal husbandry, we'll start getting these horses. Alright, purchase the tile for the campus. That actually cost 30 gold, so it was a bit more expensive than I thought it was going to be. But that's fine. And then we improve the tile, trigger the boost for craftsmanship, and just like that, the boost for horseback riding as well. So we're doing really well for ourselves. Maybe I shouldn't even bother with bronze working. I should just gun straight for horseback riding. Actually, no, bronze working might be the safer bet, because if Scythia attacks later in the game, then she'll have her horses, but if she attacks early, she's just going to have a stupid amount of warriors, and it's going to be kind of annoying. So spearmen won't help us, but it all depends on how things play out. We got to play a lot of this by ear and make decisions according to how the AI is acting. And she did capture Buenos Aires, so we got to start sweating a little bit. Got to start getting nervous. Alright folks, we're going to cut this episode a little bit differently. We're skipping ahead a buttload of hours and a ridiculous number of turns, because things went pretty well for us, but there were some other things that I wanted to try out that wound up not working as well as I had hoped. So, first things first, we wound up having a pretty beautiful looking city with some very well organized tiles. As you can see, the campus in our capital got surrounded by mines on every side except one, and each of those mines was generating an additional point of science, which helped us advance through the tech tree very rapidly. Our other cities didn't do as well with their science generation, but we got a nice amount of food from the farms that we were able to place by, and after having the feudalism civic in addition to the campus adjacency bonus with the extra food, there were no hungry mouths in our empire, and it was pretty good in that regard. But the main thing that I want to try differently in my next and final attempt with Korea is manipulating her unique unit a bit better, because it is secretly one of the strongest unique units in the game. It's called the Hwacha, and it replaces the field cannon, but the trick is you get it 2 technologies before the field cannons. At the same time you finish researching musketmen, you get the Hwacha. This unique unit is not stronger than the unit that it replaces, but because you get it earlier, you have a tremendous advantage over the enemy units that are going to be on the field at the time. So knights, swordsmen, crossbowmen, they are going to get absolutely demolished. I believe the technical term is butt fucked. by the Hwacha. Units from the same era like the musketmen, it's going to be a pretty even match, but they'll still get absolutely penetrated by the Hwacha, especially if you support them with a standing army of musketmen so that they can't really get approached in melee combat. So I'm going to start one more campaign because I want to try the Hwacha rush and use that to kind of take over the world. I think it'll have a tremendous effect. In this playthrough attempt, I wound up getting my unique unit around the same time Scythia had her units at or above my tech level, so they weren't nearly as effective as they could have been, and she had Defender of the Faith, so I couldn't really push forward on her at all. Her units were just way too strong. I couldn't get into her territory. But if I had specifically targeted the musketman technology, so I get that unique unit online and just start pumping them out while she's still got crossbows, I would have been one-shotting units and basically steamrolling over her entire empire in just a couple of turns, and that would have further allowed us to spiral out of control. So with all of that said, we're gonna take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to start one more time and have a lot of fun with Korea and giving a good old hwacha to anybody that stands in our way. So as always, the name of the game is Civilization VI. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.